Hey everyone, welcome to this week's AI Meal Show. Jinshaw and I didn't sync up on who was gonna drag today. So anyway,
we're waiting for Marina for a second. Where's Marina?
Marina is not here today. She couldn't get here because of work situation. So anyway, we'll miss her today.
Yeah,
Unexpected for her not to be able to be here. But how are you doing, Jinshaw? Are you doing well?
not too bad, not too bad. I thought you're gonna say I expect she's not gonna be here.
Oh, look, she's saying hola there. She's saying hello. And she. It doesn't say she's live, but she said hello into the chat there. Do you see that? I do see that. Yeah. See,
And
let's see.
she is the audience, and we do all the work. Really?
I'm telling her she's got. I didn't tell her she's becoming more American every day, getting immigrants to work for her.
Yeah,
Mexicans and Chinese, and getting this all work for her. So,
two
they,
two very hardworking people, right?
yeah, exactly, exactly. She's
Yeah.
out there living the dream, and we're here, carrying the work.
Yeah, we are carrying the dream. She is living the dream at the
There
moment.
you
Yeah.
go. There you go. We're carrying her dream. So welcome everybody. So today it's an interesting. We're going to talk about the new copilots for developers, vibe coding, right? As it's called. Um,
Yeah,
how,
yeah,
how do you
vibe
find vibe
coding.
coding, Joe?
I find that you need to know the basic of programming to do that at the moment. I mean,
Yeah,
it's the same as basically Gen AI. Even you have like deep search models or whatever, all those models to do, but if you are very broad um, in your prompt, you never really get the good results. You have to know your code, what it does is supposed to do, each of the functions, modules, other file connects to it, described in a way is really clear to the LLM, and you will get amazing result. It really save you time. But if you are building a full app per se, every time you're building it, the result might be different.
yeah.
Yeah. To fix things, I think it's really cool. Very, very fast, very efficient. Yeah.
Well, this is, yeah. I find that it does work really well in certain circumstances, and what I mean by that is, like if you know yourself, like you say you have to know everything, and if you don't know all of that, and you
Hmm.
ask to code something, it's going to be too general, not specific. But now they're starting to get into where it's more, I'm not going to say integrated, but it's more understanding the context of
Yeah.
everything, of what your local. So I'm going to show some today, demo some ones. We have some Claude code. We're going to look at Google Colab with Gemini, and then we'll look at Anaconda, which is an interesting one. So if you have any questions, we've got quite a few viewers and there. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask as we're going to cover these today. These obviously is not an exhaustive list. There's quite a bit. I know one that Jinsha, you love using is Cursor.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
that's like
Because
IDE, right?
yeah, yeah, I used Cursor for quite a while now. I started with copy your code into ChatGPT and get the result out, and then later on I find there's a couple of different um, kind of plug-in for Microsoft Code. Basically, you put it into your API,
Yeah.
which you can do and do that. I still use sometimes, because you can go into the openrouter.ai, and there are free models you can use, and like you can put your API in there. It's totally free. You can experience how to code and all that, vibe coding. But I do find that integration is not really good. The cursor, what what makes a huge difference is, I think I show you this as well, right? If you are a DevOps engineer, cloud engineer, or anything like that, because the IDE itself, you can SSH to a server, or you can edit a file. open that file in your IDE, and you can edit straight away. So
Hmm.
there's a lot of saving time on copying and paste code everywhere, because you can, using that terminal straight away, run it, and oh, the batch didn't work. Okay, let me try it again, or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll be. I've not used Cursor. Maybe I like it as much as you do. But I do Visual Studio Code, and lately now, since they came out with Claude Code, I'm using it quite extensively. But you pointed out to me, Jin Chao, it is a paid version. It's not a free version.
No.
It's about 180 a year plus VAT, so it's about 220. So it's just about 20 euros a month, which is the same price point as everyone. I know that when initially earlier in the year, January, I signed up for Copilot, Microsoft Copilot, and that was 100 euros for the year. So I tried that one, but we're going to look at Gemini tonight, which is free. And then Anaconda has their versions, and they've got some free versions as well. So let's get stuck in here. Let's get right into it. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
So I've opened up. I'll just show you here. Let me share my screen. And there was some comments there. I would ask that people would be respectful. Let's just second here. We welcome comments, but I ask that people be respectful when they're commenting, or we will remove you from AI Amigos. Okay. So I opened up. Here's my Anaconda Navigator. Now I've opened up my Jupyter Notebook. They also have here Anaconda AI Navigator, and I'll launch that now. And here it's actually free. You can download the model directly onto your computer, but it doesn't integrate. Well, I didn't see it integrate, or I didn't see how to integrate it with my Jupyter Notebook. So you see here, I've got some models. I downloaded that one there, but see here, I can download more models, and you can see here, it's just like Llama. You can download these locally. Which I downloaded the middle size one. I didn't download, and these are all text generation. I don't see any specific. They all say text generation. I don't see any for sense of similarity. I don't see anything for coding. They all seem to be text generation. Maybe they're putting that all in the same. But this was an interesting one as I was looking through them, and then my own one that I downloaded here. So I can just click use model, and then what here I can chat with a model there, or I can go. Let me go back to my models. That's a chat. I can open it up with API server and then just run that on my local. And if I start that,
I mean, can you I know that like a small model could be a bit slow sometimes.
It can be, yeah, it can be. This one is localhost 8080. There it is there. So let me hide that there. So I can talk to it here, but I mean, I didn't really mess with it that much, to be honest with you. I didn't see here, but this one was free. I downloaded it. I can use it. And there's no limits, because remember we were saying in Claude Code, after a period of time, if you use it too much, it will slow you down.
But is this actually for coding, or just the kind of local LLM?
I think it's just a local LLM. I didn't see where I could connect it. So
okay.
I'm now open up a Jupyter Notebook here, and this is the Anaconda Assistant, which was quite good.
All right.
So I would say I was messing with it a couple of days ago, saying, okay, I want to load NBA data set to analyze. Okay. Obviously, if you want to analyze something else, if you have your own, I'm sure. So it'll run this here. It'll give me the code. Obviously, grabbing the code from GitHub there, as you can see. And then once I'm happy with it, it's going to allow me to then bring it into the Jupyter Notebook. So you export and run this in chat in your notebook. So I can just click that, and it just straight away does this for me here. So it's
And then
running.
if you wanted to edit that, does it edit on this file straight away, or tell you where to edit, or what does it do?
Well, let's try that. So here is my so here's the recommended packages. Say I want to do some exploratory data analysis. Let's see what it does here. Now, what would be interesting as well is that from what I saw here is it will just keep adding it down. So it doesn't really put it into here, if you will. It's going to add it. I'll show you here once I do it. And what would be interesting to see is you asking it questions like, fix this in my code, or, because that's the main thing, right? So if I click here, export this into my chat, you can see here. You can see it added it down here rather than, and then you can see you start to debug the active code cell. So it just works within. Look how many times it added it there. So, and every time it's bringing in new ones. So if I go here and view the table of contents, I mean, look at that there: Anaconda assist, Anaconda assist, assistant, or they're all assistants anyway. So it does do that, and that could be take a long time. Would you agree with that? When you're running the code, you know what I mean? This could take a long time. And let's see here. So, oh yes, it's giving me error.
It has this good use cases to create a script initially, and then you can manually change it later on, maybe. But that doesn't. It might help a lot on the data scientist side who use Anaconda, but it doesn't help me that much. Like a lot of our work is updating, upgrading stuff. You hardly write a brand new script or something yourself. So that's a large part of the kind of daily for IT people, right?
I wouldn't find this. I guess for myself, I wouldn't find this very useful in my day-to-day.
Yeah.
I'm finding it struggle now. So you're right in that extent, Jinsha, to that extent. This would be a bit of an issue, yeah. So then I have here I open up Colab, and if we just toggle there, okay, so I've agreed to using Gemini. Just say I want to analyze NBA data set. So again, this is starting from 0, right? So I think when you talk about like vibe coding, right? So I accept an auto run. The thing is that you want to build an app. The thing is, right? Is that would you agree with that, John? I want to build an app so people can log in, can view it, or whatever the app may be. So here, enter the file name of the data set. I don't have a file name. So
that's the main part of the problems, and so many people building it, and that's brilliant to try all the idea to see your killer app. Maybe there's some marketplace for it, but once you enter that stage, and you need someone to manage the app to move it to the real production environment. It's different, right? Remember this woman on the TikTok was posting all the AI content, and then she was hiring a cloud engineer or IT person to help him manage the code to put into a production site. I was like, okay. All those, look at this $100 or whatever $1 million idea, right? All that. At the end of the day, the app she made, and still need the people to actually put it in. I'm not saying it right now is it has to be people to do that, but in the future it could be replaced. But right now, it's just not there yet.
Well, I'm finding, and I cannot share code from work here. Obviously, this is not my work computer either. But I'm finding within the environment of work that it can see the different functions and files and connecting, and you can ask it questions, and it can map out your ecosystem, and then give in context responses.
Yeah.
which I find quite good, and using Visual Studio Code. So we can do a couple of things here that would that we can test out and just to see, right? But
Yeah.
in the Visual Studio Code, I'm sure many of you have this, but in Visual Studio Code, and I'll just go over to the extensions. You'll need to install the Claude Code for VS Code, and then once you install that, you close it out. You'll see up here in the top right hand corner, and I do have, which we did before, where you can look at the different chats, but it's this one here, the little copilot, so you can see. But if I click this here, there's my Claude Code assistant. So I can say here, I'll do the same question. I want to download and analyze NBA data set. Could you give me the link to download from GitHub and code to analyze the data set? So as we're going through there, you can see it's now looking, do you want to proceed with this web search? I click yes, and it's running now. I like the way the little text accomplishing musing. It'll say, let's see what it changes to in a minute. Coalescing. It changes to the whole thing there. Generating. Okay, well, that sounds about right. Spinning. So it's going out, and you can see it's working. Found several, and so it shows you there what it's doing. It found several NBA data sets. Now I'm going to analysis notebook for you. I'll use a popular NBA data set to provide code to download it and analyze it. So it's doing this, and now it generates the code. Now it says, do you want to proceed with the notebook edits? I'll just say yes, and it will put the edits. So I'm going to click yes and don't ask again, because that way it'll just work away. But you can see smooshing. It's smooshing. Jin Chao. It's puzzling. It's puzzling now.
Yeah.
Channeling. Actualizing. There we go. So it's going and grabbing, and it's writing the code here, and I can then go and ask it to do specific things. And I can tell you that some of the ideas that it's given me would have not been ideas I would have thought of. And it's quite good in that.
Yeah, that's the Gen AI while we're using it, right? It created something we never thought about it could be using, and yeah.
I mean, others have thought about it, and it finds what others. I mean, we got to be careful in saying that it's not creating something brand new. It's not creating, a novel idea or a new path, but it will show you other ways that you probably would not have considered or did not consider. So here we go, and it's running, as you can see. It's still working away there. There we go. I think, yeah, it's finished. So it shows you here, GitHub ready links for NBA, what the notebook does, gives an explanation. So I can just click run all there. And let's see here. I should have all those installed. Yep, libraries imported. Analysis complete, but it says analysis. But what analysis? There's no analysis. Until you tell it there is no analysis.
And can you update the code and see how fast it is? I know, like, when you created a hosting, it's slower, but I just wanted to see if you find some fault and then try to update it, how fast it's gonna be.
I find it can be fast sometimes and not fast sometimes. But you can see here what I'm currently here. I've only got one folder, a file in the folder. If I had a bunch of files and folders in here, it will analyze what's in here. It's almost like a RAG system.
Oh yeah. They do that. All the code stuff, they kind of index the whole thing first. But that can be changed. I find that very annoying, because once if you on a pay-as-you-go, sometime for privacy issues, I use my own API keys. In Cursor, you can do that. You don't need it to align on his provided models. You can put your own API keys. I like to limit my tokens, so I don't allow them to do that.
Yeah.
So, but like if you go on the cloud, that's the kind of part of benefit as well, right? If you don't use your own model, you don't need an API key just to put it in. So
Well, I mean, it will. I mean, I say that, but in thinking about the way I've been using it, is that it doesn't. So here it says didn't save properly. I'll see what happened. It does do that as well. So I've got to reopen it here. Hold on. Content and file viewer. Do you want to overwrite? Yes. Let's see here.
Yeah, and I think like this is a part of the performance as well. Like if one day you have 8 hours working time, if you're waiting for this all the time, is that efficient enough?
No. Okay, let me see what happened here. I'll put it on this side. Okay.
So it depends on, sometimes the easy stuff, sometimes hard stuff. You're gonna choose maybe the hard stuff to do that, not the easy stuff. The easy stuff is taking that much time. It's just wasting time.
It is, yeah. It is. And does that work? Would you see that the same way in in the coding that you're doing it in Cursor?
Cursor definitely faster. I can choose different models. I don't want it to have thinking model on when I don't need it to.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I have a section of models. I can use GPT, I can use XAI, I can use Claude, Sona 4.5 or Sona 4.5 with thinking on. I can use all different ones. Sometimes for simple task, Cursor itself has its own tasks. And then there's a system prompt for you as well as how you're using it. So there's a prompt of you put it into making sure every time you do it, a new project created a kind of like a task list and progressing list. So that's a way to save tokens as well. Every time you go back to the project, you read those two files first, where they are, and what the whole project is about, and what they use for the whole project. From there on, which step you are on, and then progress, picking up, continue from there. Otherwise, every time you go back in, it has new ideas. That's why a lot of people in their GitHub, they finally get one version working, but they have 4 or 5 versions of the old code, orphan code left in the GitHub. So it's really hard to maintain when somebody like a developer look at it like, what's this piece code for? What's that piece code for?
Yeah, what's this doing? It's doing nothing.
Yeah, not really neat. So that's the thing.
Yeah, but you can see here it's taking quite some time. So I can see what you're saying in regards to it's doing the thinking, and I just asked it to update the code, and obviously I made a mistake of I should have when I go to the example, it's not there now.
Yeah.
So it's deleted. I don't know what it's doing now. The old book still exists. Let me completely replace it with a comprehensive analysis code. So it's doing it, but there we go.
Yeah, but I think there's another point as well. If you use this quite a while, I've been using it for almost a year, a little bit more now. Like the things is, if you have someone doesn't follow the best practice in coding, don't use vibe coding to fix his code or whatever. It won't be able to, because I have people writing the code like 5,000 lines. It's just not big enough for the token to read the whole lot. So it never changed correctly.
And it doesn't. What do you mean it doesn't change forever?
Okay, for vibe coding, for the LLM to understand it,
yeah,
they have a context window. If your window is too big, if your code is too long, too spaghetti, it just won't read it in the whole go. Even the using index, memory, cache, whatever it is, it's just not big enough.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, and that's where you were talking about the tokens are just too much, right?
Yeah, and then it just won't be able to fix it. That's just shit code. Even AM doesn't want to touch it.
That's true. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's interesting to ask it. I mean, like when you're doing the coding, you write your code to get it to work, and then you go and you refactor it, and then you document the code. And there's many times when I've done a code is asking it to refactor. And sometimes, because I've learned coding from other coders, right, and from literature, books, and things, that when something is being done and then it does something completely different, I'll go and ask people, like I'll ask you or ask someone else, go, is this an okay approach? Because it's just, I don't know, if this is going to work properly. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I mean, like it used to. In the previous job we did, our pipeline won't promote your code, won't run until your landing is 100%. They just validate your code automatically and see what's wrong, what's not wrong, and you change it until it's correct. There are exceptions you can put it in. Explain to your peer review guy says, and this is why I put this here, and ignore. You can let the landing not showing out the errors, and that's really restricted the way those guys when I was doing that, but in making sure all the code are up to standard.
Yeah.
So
they can bring the whole system down, right?
no, it's very clean code, very clear. If it's too big, create a function, create a different file, calling different things, readme very clearly. So yeah, I did learn quite a bit because other people are talking about your code as well.
Which is important, yeah. I mean, and yeah, to understand what's happening there, and I think that's where, as we're going back to the very beginning, as we're discussing the Jinchao, that this tool works really well if you know the code. If you don't know how to code, you're just going to be going back and forth, and it's not going to do what you want. And equally, I find that it'll give you the wrong answer again and again and again, but explain it in a different way, and it's still wrong.
I think it depends on the model. I find it very interesting, right? I try to test because there's a video merged in China asking one of those latest model to do one. I think it expired from one of the videos. A guy's asking the ChatGPT to count from 1 to 100,000. So they did that experiment on the Chinese model. I would like everyone else to try it as well. I did try that to ChatGPT. ChatGPT refused to count it straight away more than 100. It's at 1, 2, 3, and then 220, and then tell me, you see how it goes, and then it's too long. We don't need to do that, and all that. I keep asking it. It just keep telling me the same, and then I ask him, how do I know? You said the way you're counting is correctly, but how do I know? You didn't show me. And then he said, fair point. So let me start from 100 to from 1 to 100, and then I said yes. He counted, and then he said, do I continue another 100 at 100 to 200? I said yes. I will continue 4 or 5 times. It will just continue counted to 7 or 800. That's okay. But there is a piece I ask him, how do I know you can count correctly? Because you only show 1 to 20. How do I know?
21 and everything is right. Yeah.
I have to convince him. But I tried in DeepSeek. And can you count from 1 to 100,000? Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, continue on. And then to eventually it ran out the token. And then I click continue. It's still running. So that raises the question, like, is that AI thinking for you is better, or is the AI follow your order is better? Like this apply to vibe coding as well. Like you giving orders, if the AI think there's a better way suggested to you, is it better? Or follow what exactly you wanted to is better, right?
Well, that's it. Yeah. But I mean, the thing is, you saw, as you, I think that the neat thing about these tools is that you can ask it questions in natural language,
Mm-hmm.
you know, which is great to do that. But equally, like, you know, sometimes there could be some issues around that in regards to, like, you don't really fully understand, or there's something going on, or equally as you're saying there, what if the AI does something or suggests something and it's completely and totally wrong?
Yeah, because the Chinese model they tried, which have bizarre results. They never tell you the in between. It just hide it. It's just 1, 2, 3, and you see what's going on. Whatever the people are asking for, it's just not showing how it counted to 100,000. But it
Wow.
tell you he did.
Okay, and that's the problem, right?
Yeah,
Because you make decisions based on that. I mean, yeah,
I think that the person is quite big now in China. I think this is inspired from a person asked ChatGPT to count from 1 to 100,000, but it was a kind of joke, you know, woman voice and man voice. Woman voice was basically saying, you're joking, right? All that, and it just doesn't count. And then it changed to a male voice. It just start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
oh
6.
my god.
That was a joke on TikTok, but like people are doing tests in the models, they find out like some models, like this Chinese model, they raised it. It's supposed to be the latest one. It just doesn't show you like ChatGPT. I was convincing it to actually show me how it count
Yeah.
in between, right? But you still can't take it granted. It did correctly to up to 800, but what about the rest? You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah. I know exactly what you, yeah.
yeah,
And that's the thing is, like, you know, when you know, I've used it for like creating reports and stuff like this, right? And analyzing things. And
yeah,
then you going back and you go like, no, that's completely wrong.
yeah,
You know, and or you know, you ask it a question and it creates something, and you give it the data, and then it doesn't even use the data you gave it. It
no,
just and so, you know, you make it more verbose, but equally then it's still problematic. And I think at the end of the day, you know, we have to be able to, or we should anyway, verify these things that are correct, and you have to
yeah.
understand the domain, and
I
you have
think
to.
you when you're using those models straight away from the console, it has quite a bit of those problems. But if somebody tuned it and then transfer specific for some kind of tools, it's slightly better. We see less of that kind of things
Mm,
happening, especially from kind of like you create a report or something. We've been using like uh, Firebase or whatever from Google or from all those places. They seem a bit more accurate, but those kind of things happen. I feel like more when you're using the console with that kind of thing.
well, I mean, it is getting better, and I think our expectations are getting higher, which is great because, you know,
Yeah,
even a year ago, 2 years ago, this would have, what we're at, where we're at today, would
yeah,
be unimaginable, and it's just an exponential growth. And I'm really excited to see what new, you know, co-pilots are going to be available for us to use
yeah.
uh, in the data science and in the software development sphere, you know, and the
That's
cloud, and the cloud.
yeah. That's why next week I'll go start learning electrical now. I'll be like electrician.
They need a lot of electricians in show.
Woohoo.
Well, we've come to the end of our show. Want to say that before we sign off, that we are sponsored by Tequila AI.
Mm-hmm.
And if anyone needs any kind of AI work, definitely speak to Tequila AI. So with that, next week we have a guest, I believe, right? Now it's not.
Yeah, we're talking about the AI education. So,
Okay.
it's a guest we had on before, which had from a startup is very interesting. So we have him again talking about education piece with AI.
I look forward to that. All right, everyone. Next week we should all be back. Marina should be here and our guest. So we'll see you guys next week. Thanks, and ciao. Great as always. See you guys. Thanks for joining.